Hello. Yeah, trying this streaming thing as well on YouTube. Let me know if sound is okay and if everything seems to be working, and please let me know if something isn't working. After my video with Nerdforge, Prusa reached out, contacted me, and said that yeah, it was a cool video and all, and I had a cool print setup. There was just one thing missing, and that was a Prusa printer, and they wanted to remedy that, so they sent me a printer free of charge. So this isn't sponsored, but I didn't pay anything for this. They have two conditions for me receiving this and talking about it. Number one is be honest, and the other one is if I find something that isn't working as expected, talk to them first and then mention it for everybody else. So I think it's one of the most open review policies I've heard of. Just be honest about what you think about the machine. The reason I haven't had a Prusa machine before is due to the price, basically, because they're very expensive and you can get like a lot cheaper machines for with a bigger build volume. But the quality and the fact that it's mostly produced locally in Europe means that the sustainability of the company is really good, and I'm looking forward to see what they can deliver in the package that they have. So they sent me 3 packages. This is of course the printer, so I will just place this down on the floors and then we'll open the other 2 first. Let's see. There we go, and let's put that one on the floor as well for now. And let's look at this one. I think due to the weight and size, I think it's some rolls of filament. As you can see, it should fit very neatly in there. So let's see what they sent us. Also, feel free to come with questions and everything if there's something you want to see, and I'll do my best. Let's see. Seems to be 5 rolls of filament here. You can never have enough filament, so this is always welcome. They sent me 5 rolls of Prusament in various materials and various colors. So we have some, let me go here, some PETG type Urban Grey, Marble Grey PLA, Prusa Galaxy Black PLA. We got Galaxy Green PLA. This looked interesting. And we got some matte black PETG. What I mostly print with on my printers is PLA. But I'm really looking forward to trying this PETG that they sent. Both the grey one and the matte black one. I think I will use the Galaxy Black when testing later. So just keep this one right there. So 5 spools of filament, that should last me just a little while at least. Really appreciate it. I really want to test the Prusa and see the quality of that filament. What I have on my wall here now is mostly Polymaker filament, and I also have some spools down there and over there, and yeah, I have a lot of filament laying around, so I need to up my printing game and print more. Maybe open the filament boxes? Yes, yes, of course. This is the one I will be using, so I'll open this one. So you can see, I'm not sure how well it picks up on film, but it got these specs on it. So it looks really nice, really galaxy. Let's see. The gray is just gray, like kind of boring but utilitarian. So it's nice for printing functional stuff. And most of the things that I print are usually sanded and painted as well. Matte black is matte, so it's just black. This is marble PLA. I'm not sure how well the marbling picks up, but it looks really nice. I think this will really hide the layer lines. And the Galaxy Green is the same as the Galaxy Black one, with the sparkles in the filament and a nice deep green color. I hope that was a bit visible at least. They sent me more, so let's open the smallest box. This one got a little bit beaten up. I really hope the insides are okay. So let's see. I think this is, well, I'm not sure, but I think this might be the MMU. Nope, it's not. It's it is swag. There we go. This was actually a really nice quality. That was fun. Not what I was expecting. There's also some parts in here. Seems like there's some spare nozzles and a print bed. I'll put this aside for now, and then we might as well start with the big box and see what's inside there. I'll lift it up here and I'll try not to die and try not to destroy this. There we go. Luckily I'm like 4 feet, so I'm almost as tall as this box, so makes it a bit complicated. So, thank you for purchasing the original Prusa MK4S. So yeah, you have this note on top here. It's really nice. They have testing protocol. This is really good to see. So they have this receipt here with checks that I have performed. That's really nice. We have a USB drive, 3D printing handbook. That's really, really nice. And power cable, and the most important thing of all, some candy. Put that there. So let's see how easily we can do this. Some styrofoam there, and some cardboard. Oh, and another roll of filament. This is Prusa Galaxy Black, the same one I have here. Some accessories. We'll look at that after I get this one out of the box. Just put this there with the other mess. And I think, yeah, I can go ahead and put this down there, and then I can lift it up. It really looks to be well packaged, so it's yeah, this is looking really, really good. Let's see, how do we get this one off without ripping off the tool head? Just do it carefully, I guess. There we go. So, of course, when you ship a machine like this, you always have to be thoughtful of how you package it so it doesn't get damaged during transit. But I think they've made a really good job in using as little foam as possible and still having it be very, very good, being a very good package. So we have the spring steel bed here with print still on it. See if that one pops off. Yep, there we go. Really nice. And if I just put this there, I'm gonna look inside this box, see what we have here. We have a filament guide add-on. Just looking to see where that might clip on. Not entirely sure, like straight away. We'll figure it out though. We always do. A wet wipe and a thing to open the nozzle if it gets stuck. Filament roll holder, some lubricant, some extra screws, and some tools. looks really great. So let's see if we can mount this one. Hello. You ordered X1C last week? Yeah, that's going to serve you well. It's a good printer. I have one right there, along with the P1P. I have a Snapmaker here. I have a Mars 4 Ultra, Saturn 4 Ultra there. I have a rat rig down in the corner below there. I have a CR5 in the shed over there, and I have a CR10S Pro in this closet down there. I have way too many printers. Well, that's not true. You can't have too many. Don't tell my girlfriend that I said that. So this seems fairly intuitive. Should I read something before I do this? Probably. But it's fun nevertheless. Oh, that's fun. There's a sticker sheet in the front here. So oh, I see. They want this the other way. Shouldn't really matter, but they want it like this. And then they had this temporary or this filament add-on thing that will clip onto this this piece right here. Let me just look at it so I don't do that wrong as well. Yeah, I do have a lot of printers. I should really get rid of some, but they have sentimental value, if not monetary value. So yeah, if we clip this on here, it should work, I assume. Not there though. That didn't work. There. Oh, you want a screw as well. The plot thickens. So, not entirely sure where this should fit, because it seems like it's too wide. Might also be a skill issue, I'm very much aware. Maybe it just goes on the top. Yeah, it goes on the top there. And then we'll just use... Yeah, it's kind of hard to see. I can bring it closer. I'm not used to live streaming, so stress is a little high. Not really that observant, but as you can see here, there are some fine details there, and this one is a little bit taller than the other one, so it slots in there. And I assume it's this screw that goes through there. Yeah. Small nut there. Need a... Yeah, I think I have a good grounds for comparison for the MK4. It is not that many printers that I use daily. I use the Bamboo Lab printers daily, and I've used the resin printer quite a lot since I got it. The other printers that I have are in storage or being saved for bigger projects. So the one that is behind me here, this rat rig, will eventually be used in a collaboration between me and another YouTuber in printing something really big. This is a 50 by 50 by 50 printer, so it should really be able to make some big parts. So stay tuned for that. I hope that we get something out early next year. I don't want to say that we get something done this year, but hopefully next year. There we go. So it is assembled. The question is, do I need to do stuff before I start it up? Introduction, yes. And packaging, yes. How to move it, yes. Content seems to be okay. Seems to be okay. Okay, let's just boot it up and see what happens, I think is what I've decided to do. Kind of want to check that there isn't a 120 230 switch there. Can't see anyone, so must assume that it's wired correctly. Otherwise this will be a quick test. Let's see. It booted. Nice. So I don't have much experience with Prusa, but I do think that they have this program they run through when you boot it up, so it'll do some self health checks. Let's see. Language, English. Hi, this is your original Prusa printer. I would like to guide you through the setup process. Okay. Print type, that's correct. Nozzle diameter 0.4. Extruder silicone stock, I assume so, yeah. Extruder is stock. That's done, yeah. Do you want to connect? Let's not do that right now. Do not connect to a Wi-Fi. I assume I can do that later. Don't want to do that right now. So, self-test. Make sure the print sheet is installed and heated. Or installed on the heat bed. Yes, this is. So it's going through a lot of tests right now. Just make sure that it works correctly. I'm just looking at the build quality here, and it looks really nice. It just wants to repeatedly smack its head into the wall. Fair enough. So what I assume it's doing now is doing the measurement for the input shaping. So it's trying to, let's see, printer may vibrate and be noisier during homing. Yeah, fair enough. You can also see that all the wires are neatly routed to where they should go. That's really nice. So it's done the x-axis, it's now currently working on the y-axis. I'm just going to see if I can do like this. Can you still hear me? Yeah. So you can see. Okay, I get hello odd. So now it's doing the Z axis. We will need your help with this test. You will be asked to tap the nozzle. Don't worry, it is going to be cold. Yes, that's fine. I touch it when it's hot as well. Stupid me. Tap the nose. No, okay. No, I did not. Let's try it again. Okay, this was harder than expected. How hard do I need to tap it though, is the thing. There we go. I was too weak. Now it's checking the heater. You can see that I tried to get to 290 and get the bed up to 110. It's kind of hard to hold this stable. Maybe I have this one I can use. Let's see. This one will work. No. I come well prepared, as you see. Now it's heating everything up, yeah. This camera doesn't really want to focus, I see. Let's switch back to the main camera. This is just seeing it heating up. So I'll place that camera over there. Then I can make you nauseous later with it, because I'm not holding it still. I do not think there's much else I need to do running the self-test, inserting filament. First, prepare a spool of filament. We strongly recommend using PLA. Yeah. You already take the spool, make sure the end is properly secured, and the spool. That's maybe a tool that they didn't provide. Yeah, maybe they just think to use this one as a flush trim bit, so, or a flush trim cutter. But yeah, I have plenty. So okay, gearbox is only necessary for user assembled, or I have not user assembled this or serviced it, so I can skip this one. Then it wants me to unload the filament. It is PLA. Now it will check the filament sensor, and in order to do that it needed to be without filament, so I am just waiting now for it to heat up. I can maybe move the camera a little bit and zoom it in a little bit, like so, and there we got it in the middle of the frame. And there we go. Is filament in the? No, it's not. Seems like they used Galaxy Black for testing. Insert filament into the extruder until it detects filament. Okay, let's insert this one. Continue. Calibrating, do not remove. Remove filament. There we go. Calibrate it. Nice. Happy printing. So let's first filament, load filament, PLA. There we go, it's oozing out. That's nice to see. Yes, color is correct. Nice. So all in all, it looks ready to print. Let's take a look and see what's on the memory stick. So they have a conveniently placed USB port. That is always nice to have that right up in center. Is that everything that's on there? No. Let's see. What should I print? Benchy Rules PLA 14 minutes. Should we try it? You also have the rocket engine. That's an 11-hour print. I will not be hanging around here for 11 hours. They have a Robo Alpaca. That's a 5-hour print. Filament guide, spatula, keychain. Let's do the Benchy Rules first. So this is more of a standard Benchy. They have one that is really fast. But let's try the normal one. Oh, some nice status LEDs at the bottom here as well. So it's currently recalibrating the y-axis. I also don't think that this Benchy will be as big as Dr. D-Flow's Benchy. I think his was a little bit bigger, like maybe 3 times as big. Just interesting to see what it's doing in the starter. It has some nozzle cleaning. It's probing. Is this selectively probing where it needs to go? Yeah, so it doesn't seem like it's probing the entire bed, it's just probing where it will print. That saves a lot of time. No, it does not. Now it's probing a lot more. Well, now it stopped probing, so I don't know what I'm talking about. It's heating up. Feel free to post any questions you might have regarding this. I think the work area for this is a little bit smaller than the Bambu Lab printers. I'm not sure if they say here specifically how big it is. It's 25 by 210 or 25 by 21 by 22. So it's a little bit smaller than the Bambu Labs that are 256 by 256 by 256. This must always be removed. So it is surprisingly quiet. I would have assumed more noise than this. And it just seems like it's pretty plug and play for what you get. So here you have, for this one, it doesn't really matter because it will finish fairly soon anyway. But this display shows the remaining time. It shows when it will end. Of course, if you have a long print, that's very useful. It'll tell you when the next change in filament is, when it has a break or when you need to swap filament, and then it will tell you how long it's been printing for. So all in all, very useful info to have, especially the one that tells you when it will end. It says today at 17:21. It makes it a lot easier than having to manually calculate that. And it's really chugging along. Yes, there's a lot of boxes in my way. I'm just trying to look at the bow line here on the front, and it seems to be really, really good. I can also assume that the G-code they've put on here is fairly optimized, like very optimized for this printer. I also like the way that the fan in front of here, the part cooling fan, is mounted. For most other printers, you have the fan placed vertically, and then it has to do like a 90-degree turn to get the air into where it should go. And I assume that will hamper the flow a little bit. With it tilted like this, you have much more optimal flow just straight to the hot end. Also, I might be talking shit, I don't know, I just assume. By the way it looks here, it seems to be a fairly direct path. Also, this filament looks fabulous, so... It says 30% done, 9 minutes remaining. It does seem like it's really, really fast. Hello Mandy, we are printing something very, very original that I don't think ever been printed before. This is what they call a benchy. This is the first print. I got this pre-assembled. I have a ton of projects like on the go, so I don't have much time to assemble it, so they sent me this pre-assembled. So now I'm just testing it to see that it works and it performs, and it seems to be doing the job very, very well. And also, if you haven't seen it, you should see Dr. D-Flow's benchy. He made it even bigger than Emily the Engineer's boat, so he has a fully functional benchy. Also, his printer is a little bit bigger than this one. He has I think it's a 1 meter cubed pellet extruder driven printer that is built entirely on its own. It looks amazing. So I think if I'm going to compare this with the Bamboo Lab, the PNP and the X1 Carbon that I have, I'd say that the setup is similar. It's basically just plug and play for both of them. For this one, it takes you through a couple of steps just to make sure that it works correctly. Has some test for the different axes and the heating and everything, so it gives you the confidence that it is assembled correctly and that it works correctly, and that's a really nice feature to have on your first printer. Of course, the Bamboo Labs, they mostly work as well. My son's school bought one X1 Carbon, and that one came with a broken part, with the LiDAR not working. I assume that they were able to just send it back in and have it replaced, but having this, first of all, this list right here that they supply. Can we get this to be read? Yeah. So here you can see the checks they've done to the printer, making sure that every part of it works as it should, and then it also have this self-check when you first start it up. So it seems to be very beginner friendly. Now it's 63%, 5 minutes left or something. So that's this is a fairly quick benchy at 14 minutes. We can do a test on the other benchy they've added here. So they have this even faster benchy, not exactly at 50%, but it's at 8 minutes, so it's, yeah, fairly quick. So let's look at that when this is done. Should I have had somebody here to help me with the cameras? Yeah, sure. But this is the kind of jank that I like. Oh, let's see. There we go. Should I have planned this better? Yeah, probably. Should I have made sure that I had a pathway to the camera? Yeah, probably. But you live and you learn. So now it's almost done with the hull and only have the cabin left. It's going to be fun seeing if they've implemented some slowdowns on the chimney, because the chimney is really small and it will usually print too fast for PLA, so the PLA will not cool down enough for the next layer unless you have a slowdown. It's also a good test to see how well your cooling is functioning. Yeah, planning is really hard. It's my downfall. I'm also going to redecorate this room a little bit. I think I'll paint the back wall, and then I'll move some printers over here. Put the Prusa down here and put the Bamboo Labs back there. So if you have any color suggestions for me, I'm all ear. So I started this stream like 50 minutes ago. So in 50 minutes I've been able to unpack, well, yeah, color suggestion for a printer, of course, but I was mostly thinking about the wall behind me. It's like this ugly off-white color, so it needs a little facelift. No, I've had this stream going now for like 50 minutes, and in 50 minutes I've been able to unpackage it, go through the self-test, and I'm almost done with the benchy. So that should tell you how easy it is to work with these kind of printers. Like both the Bamboo Labs and the Prusas, they are excellent printers for a beginner, basically. So he's showing some speed, for sure. I will connect this to the internet and then check if there's any firmware updates. I know they had some updates with the input shaping when the first MK4 came out, but it seems to be implemented in the firmware now, and it's zooming up the chimney. So yeah, this is done in really short while. Patterned hexagons, yeah. Yeah, I thought about mounting some of my helmets behind me. Right now I just have a few helmets. I'm filming a new video about how I size helmets. So I have some props here. So this one right here is an example for when you mess up the sizing. So this one stops right there. So this one is like slightly too small. And then I of course have the kind of gag helmet here. This is the life-size Thanos helmet. So this is the other extreme. But I do want to have some helmets on the wall behind me here. Let's see how this one turned out. Releases easily. Yeah, this is really good. You can see the bow, there's nothing there to suggest any problems with overhangs. Maybe a little bit of under extrusion here. Let's see how the other benchy is. So they have this bonkers benchy. So let's see how that one fares. This is an 8. This was a 14-minute something. This is a 8-minute printer. Yeah, it's the sizing of helmets is something I've done quite for quite a number of helmets. I have a system where I use 2 different measurements and use those to get a stand-in head in the digital world where I can size the helmet to. And then after I do that, I print a little segment of the helmet, and then I send those measurements to the customer and they can check if it fits. So I have actually a small collection back here with different helmets I've printed for people. So this is just like a small slice of the helmet that is from right above the eyes and ears. So I can use this to sanity check that their measurements will fit. And of course, if it's a helmet with a narrow opening, I can also print more parts of the helmet, not only that small part, but maybe the opening. Like for this one, you might need to to check that, since this is one piece. So you need to check that this measurement isn't too small, so you need to get your head inside there. But of course with Martina, I should have thought for 4 more minutes, I think, because for most other people that I make a helmet for, those are people that don't have a 3D printer or a laser cutter or anything like that. So what I end up doing is I take one of those rings, I put a ruler on top, and I take pictures and I send it to the customer, and they can place 2 boxes with that measurement in between them and then check that their head fits. Of course I did that for Martina as well. What she did is she made a paper template with those measurements and made sure that it fit. And when she sent me those photos, I should have realized that I could just send her the STL or a PDF that she could laser cut and just cut it out herself or print it out herself. But that's not something I've done for anybody else, so having the wherewithal to do that is not something that I'm used to. But of course, going forward, I know that's a possibility. And of course, if somebody really wants to pay for extra shipping, I can ship that ring to them and have them test it. But it's not really an efficient way to do it, because then I have to wait for the shipping and everything. So it seems like this benchy is very much lower on infill. It's rotated 45 degrees. Maybe that is for some kind of optimization of what engines to use. So yeah, as I was beginning to say earlier, we're an hour in. I'm on my second print. Being able to unpack and print something within an hour is that's a meaning that they've done a good job in making sure that stuff works and that it's as easy as possible. It's the same thing with the Bamboo Lab printers. They just work. So you pack them up and you start printing. Hello, Henry. I really hope that your helmet arrives soon. It's on the way, and I hope that it fits. I went through the sizing process with Henry as well, making sure that the helmet fit. And since that also is a one-piece helmet, like it doesn't have a backplate you can take off like many do, you really need to make sure that the opening fits. According to the measurements, it should fit you because we have almost the same head size, and it fit me. So oh, you're welcome. It was a really fun helmet to make. It's taking a lot longer than it should have, but it's on its way. And as I said, there's a small present in there for you. Nothing big, but something that I felt suited the helmet and the character. So it's really chugging along here on the second print. And this piece must go. There you go. So I hope that when Henry gets his helmet, I really hope that it fits, because he will be making a little review of it. So check out his channel as well. He has a lot of, not what I would call toys, but more like collector's items that he looks at. More helmets and props and more kind of gadget things. So, oh, please feel free to ask Mandy. I'm happy to share whatever knowledge I have, and I also answer direct questions on Instagram as well. So feel free to just shout into the void, and I'll answer as best as I can while we wait for this Benchy to complete. And I'll probably start another print after this as well. So I will not finish that print, I think, but I will start one. And of course, any questions you ask here is also something that I can incorporate into the video. I haven't fully edited yet. It's on the computer right now. So okay, this is a good questions. So, do you have to scale some parts of a helmet up and others down depending on people's head shape? And that is one of the things that I talk about, not necessarily like scaling differently in the axis, but the head shape, because a lot of people, they scale using the circumference of the head, but people have different head shapes. Like somebody has narrower heads than others, somebody has wider heads than others, and the same depth. So a circumference doesn't tell the entire story. So sometimes you might have somebody with a really wide head, and when you scale a helmet to fit that head, you might end up with a helmet that is very, very, very deep. Like, to fit the head inside, you have to scale up everything, and it will end up looking way too big. Usually, I try to avoid scaling differently in the different axes, because when you do, you introduce errors in the design. Not errors, but inconsistencies and inaccuracies. So, like for an Ant-Man build that I made, we decided together with the customer that we wanted it to sit as flush to his face as possible, which meant that I had to scale the height of the helmet down a little bit and keep the width and the depth the same, which meant that the front piece of the helmet, which is a circle, became an oval because of that. It's like maybe 1 or 2%. It's not something you would notice, but it's something that if you know and you really, really look for it, you will see it. So that's why I tend to avoid doing that. But of course, sometimes you can't get around that. And then you just, with a tool that I've made that gives you the stand-in head, and pulling the helmet into Blender, I can scale it down uniformly, which means like the same in all axes. And if I'm not happy with that, I can scale it in different axes according to whatever the customer needs and whatever I think will give the best fit. But yeah, it's not a given that circumference will give you the measurement that you need. So you need to account for that and scale accordingly. So it's almost done, this Benchy. I think this one is a lot lighter than the other one. I think it, as I said, used less infill. So this is an 8-minute Benchy. Yeah, this is a lot lighter than the other one, but I also see that it doesn't have as good of the time or as much time for cooling. So you see some defects on the side of the boat. I'm not sure if it will pick up here. See a line that continues forward there. And also, due to the lower infill, we had a hole in the top here. Not sure how easy it is to see, but yeah, it didn't really manage to fill it, get a nice top surface on that one. I will start another print now, and then I will answer your question. Let's do this one. Let's have it work a little bit. 240, yeah. Yes, there we go. So how difficult is it to break up one-piece helmet into multiple parts to help people get into them? Well, that really depends on how much experience you have in 3D modeling software. Usually, if you're the one who modeled the helmet, it should be trivial, because then you have the raw low poly mesh and can make changes based on that, or make changes on that low poly. Usually what you get though when you do print is you get the high poly version, which means that instead of working on a mesh that is maybe 5,000 polygons, you end up working on a mesh that's 1 million polygons. Meaning that the usual tools that you use to manipulate a mesh isn't useful at all. So you do a lot of Boolean operations, meaning you model a box or a shape that will be where you have your split. You duplicate the helmet, you do a Boolean operation on one of them, keeping the front part, do a Boolean operation on the other one, keeping the back part, and then you can add in some holders for magnets. I started 3D modeling in 2005, so I have almost 20 years experience in this. So I know my way around a 3D modeling program, so for me it's not that hard. It's more tedious because oftentimes you work with a mesh that is so dense that it is not easy to work with, and with the Boolean operation sometimes the software wants to crash, but it's doable. And a lot of the people that I buy helmets from, because I buy a lot of my helmets, I don't use free resources. I want to support the modelers that make great cosplay helmets. A lot of them make sure that you have spaces for magnets, and that the helmet itself is neatly divided into parts, say. So, for instance, for an Iron Man helmet, you might also have it split up in colors, meaning that all the red pieces are separate from the silver pieces. That just means that when you paint it, you don't have to mask everything, you just paint it and then you can glue it together. So that's a good example. You also have this one from Josh Studios. He is the same guy who modeled the Space Marine helmet. So this one comes apart into 4 pieces, so it's easy to put on. So you can take off the eyes, and you can also take off the mouth. And as you can see here, there's a lot of places for magnets. Also, splitting up one-piece helmets is, if the helmet works as one piece, then you can keep it as one piece. You don't need to break it up just to break it up, but usually a helmet is like an upside down U, but it's like closes at the bottom, so it's wider at the middle, and then it shrinks at the bottom, meaning that you can't get your head inside the opening unless it's big enough to accommodate your ears, and that means that the rest of the helmet will be really, really big. In those cases, you would split it up, but in some other cases, like my Rhino helmet over there, or this one right here, you endure 2 seconds of pain over the ears to get it on, and then you just don't notice it anymore. They're modeled in such a way that it will fit your ears. Well, for the Rhino helmet that I have, it actually didn't have any allowances for the ears, so everything was an even thickness all around. So I modeled in some reliefs here for the ears, and for my helmet I put in some foam, because this is just very, very raw 3D print, like with parts of infill and everything, because I had to for this one I hugged it out after I printed it, so that was it. This one scraped your ears to blood basically, so but I must say that I'm impressed with how this printer is performing. Like, getting 2 benches this fast and with this quality is impressive. Also, can have stacked benches. So what I'm printing now is just the standard rocket engine. Not sure if it doesn't show the photo here, but it's should be a big one, and it's a kind of a torture test for the printer. Hopefully it will finish correctly. I've tried this print once on the X1 Carbon, and that got to around 80–85%, and then it failed. Luckily, the spaghetti detector caught it, so I was able to stop it. So I think I will be letting this stream run until 6 o'clock, that's 17 minutes from now. So if you have any more questions, feel free to ask. As I said, oh, thank you. It's the paint job for that helmet is the kind of paint job that I hate, because you're not able to hide anything. Everything is visible, and yeah, with that flat gray, you can't hide any crimes. I'm happy with it though, and I think Martina was happy with it as well. So, as I said, my next video that I hope that I'll be able to upload this week will be on helmet sizing. 2 full spools. No, I think I used 1-ish. And I used something called Cosplay for that. I have some spools of over there. That is supposed to be easier to sand and have good durability, and it seemed to uphold those promises. I'm not one to shun sanding, so I don't really mind sitting there sanding, and it performed well. But yeah, it's one of those helmets that you make that when you deliver it, it looks good, and when the customer is done painting it or doing their work on it, it really elevates it to another level. Like the Buster Sword that I made, the Buster Sword looks cool, but when the cosplayer walked up to me at a convention wearing full cosplay and that sword, that was something else. It's as I said to Martina, making stuff for myself, like this helmet behind me here, that's fun, but making something for other people, that's something else. Seeing people enjoy what I make and wearing what I make and lifting it to another level, that's special. Yeah, magnets, they're fantastic. I use them wherever I can. For the my previous reel, I think, and short, I put some studio lights, some soft boxes in the roof here, and for after I did that, the wires were just hanging around, so I made some. I've made some cable holders earlier, so I ended up using them here. So if I can just do like this, you can see some simple cable holders holding the wires across the ceiling. I love magnets. They're the best. It's difficult to compare. They both have a very easy entry. It's not difficult to start with either of them. One thing that the Bamboo Lab has is a bigger print volume. It's not that much smaller, but it might be noticeable. I will for sure be trying this and printing more of the con stock that I use. I will fetch one of those now so you can see how they look, and I can show you guys what I usually bring to conventions and stuff. So I have these two. These are printed on the X1 carbon. So they look fairly good. I will be trying one of these, printing it on the Prusa to see how it compares. So these are for having half-liter cans in. Yeah, I feel you, Dixon. The Prusa are expensive, and the Bamboo Mini is a really good printer. It has a smaller build volume than this one because the Mini has 18 centimeter cubed, I think. I've never gotten a Prusa myself, also because of the price or the cost of it, but the price of a Prusa can be justified due to their sustainability goals or their sustainability in manufacturing. When stuff is produced elsewhere, you're not always aware of the ecological cost, the cost of or the emissions and the downsides of producing everything. With what Prusa tries to do, they keep it in Europe as much as possible, and try to keep the sustainability at a good level. And it's you can't shove that under chair. That costs having control over the production chain and keeping it in Europe. So yes, they are expensive, but what you get is a good machine and a good community. I do not think that Bamboo would be where Bamboo is today if it hadn't been for Prusa and their open source policy. So I feel like the only printer that I lack now is something that goes in between the Bamboo Labs and the rat rig that I have. That's 50 by 50. I really love how this filament looks, so I will for sure be printing some of these can holders in the Prusa. And I think I will try to print some cosplay helmets on this as well, using some P2G. So for sure this is not the last time I'll be showing this printer. I will be redecorating here, as I said, so I will be moving this printer out and into another room, and put the Bamboo Labs and the Prusa printer there. Yeah, sure. The filament poop is not really something you can avoid unless you have IDEX or something like that. As soon as you need to use one nozzle for all the colors, you need to have that kind of poop. But for sure, it is wasteful, and it is annoying when you add so much, have so much waste from just wanting to print two colors. I have this kind of dice box that's shaped as a D20, and it prints in 2.5 hours or something, I think. When I use the AMS to fill the numbers with colors, I end up using, I don't know, 7 hours or something like that, and double the amount of filament for the same box. So for bigger prints as a beginner, any machine brand, it depends. Bigger printers are usually less reliable, as they have more material to flex. So it depends how big of a printer you want. If you are a beginner, but if you are technically competent, I can recommend a rat rig. Rat rigs are the same printer I have down here. It's a 50 by 50 by 50. If that's not, if that's too big, you can get some Creality K1 Max, I think, is bigger. Other than that, you can get big bed slingers, but I'm not really fond of them. A lot of the printer you get as a beginner, because they are cheap, are usually also high maintenance, meaning you need to do a lot of work on them while you're printing or between prints. So you end up working more on the printer than you actually print with the printer. And that's some people like having the 3D printer as a hobby, as well as what you 3D print. I've done that for a lot of years. It's fun, don't get me wrong, but I also prefer to print, and not messing with the machines. Is there a helmet you haven't made yet but would love to make at some point? Yeah, probably. I'm always I have a lot of Patreons that I follow, and I get a huge swath of helmets and suits every month, and a lot of them just scream out to me that I want to print them. As it is right now, I do not have the time to print anything for myself. I just print for others, and I print to take to conventions and stuff like that to sell. But for sure, there's a lot of helmets that I want to print. There's also some more Warhammer helmets that I want to print. I recently subscribed to Galactic Armory, and I want to look through his files and see what cool stuff he have. I have Yosh Studios that I buy files from, as well as Johan Joao, which is a really great modeler. So there's always helmets that I want to print. It's just finding the time to do it, and of course the space to do it as well, because I don't have that big of a workshop, and my storage upstairs is pretty full. So there's probably a lot of helmets that I want to print that I will get to eventually. I saw someone who use support material. Yeah, you can use color changing, or you can use the poop into both the infill and the supports for sure. That eliminates some of the waste, but it's still an issue. Software is software is a huge part, especially with the firmware side of it. For my older printers, the Ender 5, Ender 5 Plus, and the CR10S. CR10S. CR10S Pro. I installed Clipper firmware for them. For that to work, you need a Raspberry Pi. But that gives you stuff such as input shaping and pressure advance and a lot of other benefits. So for sure, removing the standard firmware from those printers and putting on Clipper allowed me to go from 40 millimeters per second to 100 millimeters per second, and with a better print quality. So yeah, that's a big one for sure. And of course, with the slicers, everything is being built on top of each other. So you have the Slick 3R slicer, which Prusa slicer is built on, and then you have Bamboo Studio on top of that, and then you have Orca slicer on top of that again. So you have like layers on top of layers, all the way down to Slick 3R slicer at the bottom. So seeing all those improvements in that part, as well as the firmware, is really exciting. I've been 3D printing now for quite some years, so you're okay. I'm looking into making flower beds buckets with float valves. Was hoping a medium-sized buckets and having the water. Watertight 3D prints is hard. There are some stuff that you can use. I would if you're going to use them outside, I see flower beds and buckets, I would use PETG, and I would probably use some PVA glue on the inside for water tightness. And if it's not supposed to be food safe as well, maybe use epoxy. You can get watertight 3D prints, not easy though, because yeah. Okay, yeah, inside, yeah, PLA will work fine, but PETG is also, I think it's less hydroscopic than PLA, so PLA will absorb moisture over time through the air, so should coat it with something before putting it in contact with water. yeah, the Prusa slicer is a godsend. It's a lot of things that they've done that makes everything else possible as well. So that's why I like the way Prusa is doing things with their open source software and their approach to how they manufacture the printer, because they could make it a lot cheaper by outsourcing everything to China, but they don't. So that results in a higher cost printer, but also a more sustainable printer. Some good overhang on this printer. Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. I've seen a lot of factory tours with Prusa, with other YouTubers going there and seeing how everything's made and seeing their awesome print farm and how they make the Prusa filament. So I'll for sure give it a look, give it a watch whenever I get the time. But like, I have a lot of stuff, a lot of projects on the go, making videos and making projects for others, cosplay stuff and other things. So along with the day job, I end up having too few hours in the day to do whatever I want. Yeah, like there's 3D printed parts on this printer. As you can see, the orange parts here, 3D printed. This black piece up here, 3D printed. There's some brackets here that's 3D printed. Engine brackets 3D printed there and some there. The relief thing on the back side of the printer is 3D printed. There's a holder up here that's 3D printed. Same thing here. It's a bracket for holding cables that's 3D printed. But the thing is that it works. This is not something they've just hobbled together and hope that it works. They tested this thoroughly and they know that it works. So I have confidence in it. And it's like the first printers that you had were 3D printed. In my other 3D printers, not so much the Bamboo Lab, but the others have 3D printed parts. In my P1P, I have 3D printed parts to hold the auxiliary fan. On my rat rig, if I bend this one down, the green parts here, they're 3D printed. So a lot of the tool head and the mounting points for everything is 3D printed. So yeah, I don't really mind it at all. Yes, I have a day job, and this is my night job. I'm a developer. I program for a living. Might look into transitioning to this full time, but it doesn't really pay enough to afford my life. So I need to keep the day job a few more years. So, but it do end up with me spending a lot of time working either with this or with the day job, and yeah. So it's I just had my last convention last weekend, no, the weekend before that, and last convention for the year, that is. So it's good to be able to relax a little bit and focus on the projects that I have going on. Norway isn't pretty expensive. It's pretty and it's expensive. So there's a lot of fjords and pricey bears. It is. There's not many countries that are more expensive than us. Our wages reflect that as well, but it's still expensive to live here. And That's also kind of problematic for me when I try to make helmets for other people, because I can't really charge my wage from, like, for a country that's low income. I need to charge it for my level of income, and that usually makes the helmet a bit more expensive. But I feel like I make it worth it with the service that I provide. It costs roughly $200 for a helmet, $150, $200 plus shipping for a raw print of a helmet. But that also includes a lot of work with sizing to make sure that it fits you, going back and forth. So I spend some hours working manually before I even start printing. So yeah, Norway is a great place. As I said, expensive, but you have a lot of stuff to look at and a lot of nice nature. So I would recommend coming in summer if you're from a warmer climate. If you want to see snow, please come in winter. You will freeze, but it's also beautiful here in the winter. Yes, for sure. I have people that have ordered multiple helmets from me, fully painted and fully sanded and painted. A sanded and painted helmet will run you everything from $600 and for the cheapest one and up to $800,000-$900,000, depending on the complexity of the helmet and the model. And if you want any extras like visors or electronics inside or LEDs or so I feel like I'm able to deliver a service that not many other people do. And as I said earlier, making stuff for other people is it's something special. Seeing people wear whatever I make, it's super cool. So it had some really nice overhangs here that it really killed. So yeah. Yeah, it's making helmets is it is a lot of hours. I can cut corners and make it a lot faster, but I really don't want to. I really want to take care of every helmet that I make, and making sure that it is as perfect for the wearer as I'm able to get it. Of course, I've also learned through experience that you need to account for the viewing distance, because usually when you work on a project, when you work on a helmet, when you sand a helmet, you're usually having the helmet at this distance, like half a foot away from my face. That makes me notice all the errors that's in the sanding, in the build, on every surface. But the thing is that people will not look at your helmet at this distance. They will look at it at this distance, like talking. So you're 70 centimeters away or something like that, and that allows you to hide more errors. So if you stop at 80-90% perfect, nobody will notice the last 20 or 10%, but the last 10 or 20% will take as much time as the first 80 or 90%. So you just need to know when it's good enough, because perfect is the enemy of done, for sure. Yeah, sanding is, I have a small process on how I do it, and I will probably do a small tutorial video on how I do it. Yeah, thank you for visiting. Thank you for all the questions. It's I can stay up here and talk for hours about nothing, but having actual questions to answer is really great. Have a good day, and I hope to catch you later. I said I was going to end this stream at 6 o'clock. But it's just so fun answering your questions. So it's a little bit over that. I'll stop soon-ish. I'm waiting for my girlfriend to come home, and then we'll have some dinner. But you're absolutely right, Mandy. Like, perfect is the enemy of done, and people will not they will not see the difference between perfect and good enough. There's one person who will see that difference, and that's you, who put in the time, and nobody else. Like, for instance, for a helmet, for a cosplayer, the helmet is just a small part of the entire cosplay. So the entire cosplay takes away a lot of the focus on the minor details, and it's in the minor details usually that you can find the flaws. So when you have a full getup with cosplay, you are not being scrutinized as wildly as if you're just being given a helmet to look at. So need to be aware of that as well. It smells hot. I will most likely try this filament in the Bamboo Lab printer as well. It looks like it's a really, really nice filament. And it has, the texture of it is like, a lot of filament looks matte, but this feels matte. So this feels nice. Feels like quality. I haven't looked at the price of Prusa MK in a while, so I'm not sure if it's very expensive or if it's just expensive. Usually the filament I buy is, I think it's around 20 to 23 euros per kilogram. I think this one is a little bit more expensive. I will end this stream with a close-up of this this current print. If I don't kill the camera, of course, that's always a possibility. See. That's a nice print quality. Yeah, I'm the same, and a lot of people in the cosplay community or the conventions that I go to, whenever they have 3D printed something, they usually come to me when I have a stand there to show it off. And I'm amazed at how much work people are actually doing. Both the Cosplay's maker and me, we can find flaws in the prop, but usually it's something you have to look for. You have to look past the entire cosplay and then search for errors. And when you're at that point, it really doesn't matter, because it's like a special interest group that looks for errors in what's already really great. So people need to be able to step back and look at the piece from a distance and see if it's good enough. So I think I'm now 16 minutes over where I said I would stop. So I think I will end the stream now. And I want to first of all thank Prusa for the printer. It works great. It was easy to set up, and as of now I have nothing to complain about. Okay, there's two things that is not easily remedied. It is print volume and it is price. But that being said, if you can afford one of these printers, it's not a bad purchase. It is fast, it seems reliable, and it prints great. And the time to get started was like literally nothing. So thank you for hanging out with me, and I hope that I'm able to do more live streams like this. I might even, I've done this on Instagram, I've had live streams when I do sanding, working on projects, so I might do that in the future. I'll have to see and see if there's interest for that. So this is me signing off. Have a nice evening, and thank you so much for hanging out with me and coming with beautiful insights and questions. Goodbye.